inland Georgia down to the ports of Savannah so we could ship it all over the world. It has now been repurposed by the Savannah College of Art and Design, classrooms and studios today. Then keep looking to the right, that beautiful building right there with the built-in sunroof. That is what those warehouses looked like before the restoration. We call it Scad Beach today, who fought with us during the Revolutionary War. And to our right, the home of the first African Baptist Church. Completed in 1859, this was the very first brick building completed by African Americans in the state of Georgia. It was built by those who were enslaved at the Brampton Plantation. The building is one of the most beautiful churches I've seen in the city, and it's filled with history from top to bottom. 1933, renamed after Edward Telfair. The Telfairs were quite prominent in the city. They lived in this beautiful yellow home up ahead of us. Built in 1819 by British architect William J. for Edward's son, Alexander. Now, rumor has it Alexander really was a big fan of the Ninja Turtles. That's why Michelangelo and Raphael are hanging out there today. But Alexander sadly would not see the completion of the home. Before he passed, the home was deeded to his sister, Mary Telfair. Now, while she was a great woman, she was definitely quite a character. We call her the Lady of Many Stipulations, because every building her name was a big movie made here in the 90s. Anybody know what movie that was? No idea. I heard somebody.
Forrest Gump.
That's the one. Right in the opening credits of the movie, you might recognize that steeple because the feather floated on down by the steeple as it landed by Forrest's feet while he's sitting on that bench, talking all about how his life was like a box of chocolates. It's just like with your drivers, you never really know what you're gonna get. Now, this square here is Orleans Square, named after the last battle of the War of 1812. Inside the center is our German memorial fountain, dedicated to our many early German immigrants back in 1989. Now, again to the left, you see this gorgeous Greek Revival style home, built in 1806. You'll find that that's a trend throughout the tour. Now, this fence, there are 3 pieces of it still in existence. The second piece is in the front of the home. The third piece is actually over on Bay Street. We are entering Chippewa Square, my friends. It's here where the famous bench scenes from Forrest Gump were filmed. But if you make your way into this square, you're going to find plenty of people, cute dogs, and even my man James Oglethorpe in the center. You can tell how much he hates Florida because he's stepping on a palm frond. But the one thing you won't find in there is the bench. It is no longer there. It is in the museum at stop number 1 because people kept trying to steal it, so they needed a place to put it for safekeeping. Now, here on our right is the beautiful Sixpence Pub, a very tasty English-style pub here in Savannah. Here is the Mercer Williams House. Built in 1860 for Confederate General Hugh Mercer, that man would go on to never live inside that home, which I find such a travesty because it is absolutely beautiful, also of sunny Siler. And today is the home of one singular man named Richard Kessler. Must be nice, right? Yeah, can't say I would do what he does because he actually rents that out for special events and whatnot. Me, with a view like that up ahead, I ain't going nowhere. Where it is here, we hold the annual blessing of the animals. But the armillary sphere in the center is probably my absolute favorite monument. Erected in the 1960s, this here is a working sundial. I say working very loosely because you guys see how shady this square is. Now, it is surrounded with all 12 signs of the zodiac and is held up by 7 little tortoises. Now, those little guys are probably my favorite part of it because they get dressed up for the holidays. They get Santa hats for Christmas, football helmets for the Super Bowl, and they even have Easter bonnets on for Easter this year. Till 5 o'clock, unless there is worship going on at the church. You'll know that with a red sign out front. That is the only time you are not permitted to tour. But this church is absolutely gorgeous and well worth a visit if you have the time. If you need to hold out and wait for Mass to be over, you can always come across the street and grab some coffee at Cafe Mirabelle. Tell time on the city sundial. And it was even here that back in August of 1776, that the Sons of Liberty read out loud for the very first time the Declaration of Independence. Now, you might notice that all around we have banks on every single side of the square. We often call it Banker Square. So if you hear that, we're not talking about a different square. We are most definitely talking about Johnson Square. Now, if you take a look, a tall monument sitting there, that is for Nathaniel Greene. Greene was the second in command to General George Washington, and for his service, they're better known as balliststones. They come from all over. Sailors who would make their way into port would use these stones as a way to balance out their ships. They throw these onto the docks as a way to make room for the cargo coming in. Now, we eventually decided to do something with all these rocks. We wanted to use some to build up the walls to secure the bluff, and then the rest were used to pave the road, because we used the smooth rocks for the walls and the bumpy ones for the road. Now, in all seriousness, this road is very uneven, so I just ask that if you are making your way down River Street at any point during your visit, please stick with the sidewalks and the otherwise paved areas, because you already took one trip to get here. I do not want to hear that you took another one on these rocks, because believe me, it's not fun. This year, stop number 11, the first of 2 on River Street. Now here to our left, this beautiful body of water is the Savannah River. Now, it has been here a whole lot longer than we have, hence why we were named after it, and not the other way around. Now, across the way, you'll notice 2 big, beautiful buildings. This is the Westin Savannah Harbor Convention and Trade Center, and behind those both is a very beautiful golf course. All of it is very accessible, even though it doesn't look like it. All you gotta do is pop on one of our Savannah Belle ferry boats, and they will move you back and forth from either side of the river. Absolutely no cost all day long. But something else is directly on the other side of that bridge. Do y'all know how close you were to South Carolina? It's only about a mile across the bridge. The waters of the Savannah River, my friends, was not much to look at back in 1733. It was only 12 feet deep. Today it's been dredged to a depth of about 47 feet at low tide, and we can now accommodate 98% of the world's container ships. But we're not going to stop there. We are overachievers here in Savannah, have every intention of getting that number up to 100. And the way we're going to do that is by raising the bridge 30 feet higher than it already is. This here, guys, is going to be stop number 12. This here is Morrell Park, number 12. That's the year. Because you see, in 1996, the Summer Games were held in Atlanta. But Atlanta doesn't have water like we do. They needed help with their yachting events. So we raised our hands to help. And we got jeweled and lost. They did not have far to go to find their final resting place. Because Because right next door is Colonial Park Cemetery. Inside is a gorgeous four-poster monument dedicated to Button Gwinnett, the youngest of 4 Georgians to sign the Declaration of Independence. If you take a look around, you might notice we got a whole lot of these beautiful crypts all throughout. These are used to bury up to 9 members of the same family who died during the yellow fever outbreaks. Because you know what they say, folks? The family that stays together decays together. Stop 14. Stop 14.